Hello, BookTube. I am once again trying to get back in the swing of doing book tags. So today I'm going to be doing the Hounds of Love, Kate Bush and Books tag. This tag was created by Aaron of Aaron Read a Book, and I was tagged by Pat of Book Chat with Pat. Thanks, Pat, for the tag, and I will have links to both Aaron and Pat's channels in the show notes down below, as well as a list of books and one other mention in the show notes down below. Sorry about that. Before I begin, I do have a confession to make. I am not familiar with the music of Kate Bush. I've only listened to two of her songs, Running Up That Hill, A Deal with God, which I rather do enjoy, and Wuthering Heights, to which my response is, what the hell was that? If I have time tonight, I might, instead of watching longer BookTube videos, I might go over to Amazon Music and listen to this album after I finally get around to listening to ATEEZ's latest release, which I've been meaning to get to for a while. Anyway, let's get on with this tag. So this tag is divided into two parts, which I'm assuming is how the album was released originally. So, prompt number 1, Running Up That Hill, A Deal with God. A book mentioned by a character in TV or film. Now, this prompt gave me an immediate headache because I just, for the life of me, could not come up with an answer. It has been a fairly long time since I've watched film or television, so nothing was coming to mind. And then I'm like, you idiot, where did I hear Running Up That Hill, A Deal with God from? Stranger Things. There's another song that plays quite prominently in that season of Stranger Things, I think, and that is the Neverending story theme, which, while they're obviously referencing the movie, it is an adaptation of a novel, The Neverending Story by Michael Ende. So I'm going to go with that. It may not necessarily work, but let's go with that. Prompt number 2, Hounds of Love, a book featuring a four-legged friend. This prompt also gave me some trouble because for the life of me I could not think of a dog or cat in a book. And then just recently I reread, after about 30 years, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and of course, the best of the Holmes novels, The Hound of the Baskervilles, of course features a hound very prominently, although not in a positive light. The hound is, in fact, the murder weapon, if I remember correctly. Prompt number 3, The Big Sky, a book with sky on the cover. This prompt also gave me quite a bit of trouble coming up with an answer. And then, as I was rearranging my manga shelves this morning, I realized, wait a minute. Maybe some volumes of Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic by Shinobu Ohtaka would have some pretty neat sky illustrations on the cover, and they do. Particularly volumes 4 and 5, and one of the others. So I'm going to go with some volumes of Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic by Shinobu Ohtaka for this prompt. Prompt number 4, Mother Stands for Comfort, a book with a parent-child relationship. So for this prompt, when I have thought about making this tag, usually having trouble with the first 3, I kind of like take a break from it. So for this prompt, I'm going to go with the book that I'm currently reading, and that is Duck's Newburyport by Lucy Ellman. This is an immense stream of consciousness novel in which the narrator spends copious amounts of time looking back at her relationship with her mother, and the novel is also about her relationship with her own children. So, Duck's Newburyport is my choice for this prompt. Prompt number 5. Cloud Busting, a book where psychology or psychoanalysis is important. This prompt was going to give me some trouble, and then I realized my arch enemy. Spider by Katarzyna and Sergiusz Michalski, as this is part of the Animal series from Reaction Books. And the Animal series from Reaction Books looks at specific animals or groups of animals, and they will usually touch on the biology, the natural history, the cultural criticism, relationship with humans, economic exploitability, what have you. Some of the books are more one thing than the other, and in Spider's case, it is basically a psychoanalytic interpretation of spiders, including arachnophobia, which they ascribe to some kind of psychosexual thing that I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. When, more often than not, arachnophobia is caused because your jerk of a father threw a live spider into your hair when you were a little girl, like my grandfather did to my mother. Okay? Okay, now on to part 2, the 9th wave. Prompt number 6, And Dream of Sheep, a book that sent you to sleep, or a book about sleep, or a book about sheep. Now, I'm not entirely sure. I think this is the most recent book I have in the Animal series. So let's see if sheep is a part of it. If it is, then I'm going to go with sheep. Yes! Sheep by Philip Armstrong is part of the Animal series from Reaction Books, even though obviously I don't have it. But it is there, so yay! Okay, now on to prompt number 7, Under Ice. A winter book or a book that takes place underwater. For this prompt, I'm going to go with The Brilliant Abyss by Helen Scales. This is a book about the deep ocean. Prompt number 8, Waking the Witch, a book featuring witches or witch hunts. So I was thinking about going for a manga series for this prompt, but I'm going to go with something a bit more aspirational. The Wax Child by Olga Ravn. It's about a wax figurine that survives, I think, several centuries or something like that. It has been nominated or longlisted for the International Booker Prize. So, it is one of the long-listed books that I would like to read. And I'm seriously contemplating picking it up relatively soon, or I might wait for the trade. I haven't quite decided yet. Prompt number 9, Watching You Without Me, a nightmarish book. So for this prompt, I will go with a manga series, Dark Gathering by Kenichi Kondo, which is about a young man named Kaitaro who can sense spirits. and he is fairly attractive to spirits. Before the series began, he gets cursed alongside his friend, and this has led him to be a shut-in. However, that friend and his family have gradually got him out of his isolation, and to help with his further integration back into society, he has taken on the job as a tutor for his friend's young cousin. Unfortunately, this young cousin Yayoi can see the supernatural, and her hobby is to go to violently haunted places, confront the spirits there, kick their asses, and forcibly conscript them into her army that she is building and training so that she can use them to fight a monstrous embryonic creature that kidnapped her mother before the series began. And the series is very dark and very nightmarish. So I'll go with that. Prompt number 10, Jig of Life, a hopeful book. For this prompt, I'm going to go with Sunny Days by David Kemp. It is a delightful, very sunny history of educational children's television in the 1970s. Prompt number 11, Hello Earth, a book not set on the planet Earth. For this prompt, I'm going to go with another work of manga, and I will select Black Clover by Yuki Tabata, which is a fantasy series set in a fantasy world in which most humans have the ability to wield magic, except for the main character, Asta. But this does not prevent him from aspiring to become the Wizard King, which is an ambition that his foster brother Yuno also possesses. And unlike Asta, Yuno has tremendous magical capabilities. Prompt number 12, The Morning Fog, a book about being rescued, or a book about fog, or a book that makes you happy to be alive, or a book featuring dancing, or a book about Kate Bush. So this particular prompt could have been a tag all on its own. So I think I'm going to go with a book featuring dancing. But I can't see here, because I was thinking Dancer from the Dance by Andrew Holleran, but I'm not entirely sure how much dancing is in it, actually. It's been a very long time since I've read it. So maybe I ought to go with The Swimming Pool Library by Alan Hollinghurst, which, while not explicitly about dancing, does feature a trip to a gay club where there is dancing. So let's go with that. Although I will add Dancer from the Dance in the show notes as well. So that was the Hounds of Love, Kate Bush and Books tag. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. Anyway, BookTube, I will be back tomorrow with weekly reads, and if I'm lucky, the first book haul of March, which I'm going to be calling 11 from Pals and 2 from Majors and Quinn. So look forward to that. Anyway, BookTube, I will be back tomorrow. So until then, thank you and have a great rest of your day.